Commander Chakotay is back. How excited are you?
Captain, right?
Captain.
I don't know. Is it captain?
Yeah, he's a captain.
Yeah, that's what I've heard too.
I'm excited because obviously it became all good after Voyager came home. Like a lot of people were wondering, oh, what happened to the crew? Did they get court-martialed, or was there a trial, or were they all pardoned because of everything they were going through? And maybe some stuff did happen, and it would make a great storyline in some way, shape, or form. But in the end, it was obviously recognized that Chakotay, did some bomb-ass stuff, and he was recognized for it. And I'm sure Janeway was just like, yo, if anybody should be the captain of this ship, if I'm going to get promoted to admiral, it should be this guy. Screw what he did, So,
and also, I think one of the points have been brought up before about some of the characters in Voyager that didn't really get their justice, as far as Chakotay being one of these that didn't really get to, he had what his character could have been, and then what they actually did with his character over the show. And maybe this might be an opportunity to add a little bit more to the Chakotay character and give him a little bit that they didn't do throughout the Voyager show.
I'm going to play devil's advocate. Do we know that it's actually Chakotay per se, or not, and not like another hologram that something like the Janeway one?
That's a good question.
I don't think we.
To some extent, maybe it's just a hypothesis of somebody made another program of Chakotay, kind of like that one episode of Voyager where they had the Maquis taking over the ship. Maybe somebody got something like that.
That's what I assumed. I assumed it was just going to be like another hologram or something like that, because do we even know where this takes place? I guess I just naturally assumed that it was going to be somewhere super far away from the Federation. Maybe it's not. Maybe I'm totally wrong there. But if it is, then Chakotay, Captain... Well, hang on a second. Do we know if he's Captain Chakotay in the Federation?
That's what I was about to
or
say.
Or he's Captain Chakotay of the Nyberide Alliance, for example.
Right.
Oh.
Does it necessarily mean he's the captain of... Yeah. In Starfleet.
What if it's Chakuvix?
There you go. Mystery solved.
That's the answer.
So that's Scott's guess. What are the rest of your guesses? That Scott is going on record
saying Chakuvix. Anyone?
That's going in memory.
Hashtag Chakuvix. Make it a thing.
But here's my question. Isn't Janeway's hologram a navigational hologram? Isn't she supposed to be like a navigational? Isn't that her whole thing?
I think she's like. I think she's like Badgie.
I would think that she would be, but
she's like Badgie, or like the paperclip guy back in the day, where it's like you turn on your new, you turn on your new spaceship, and here's Captain that says, "Hello, Badgie. Is there anything I can help you with?" And that's not the right button to push. We're gonna have to whip you into shape. Here's the information section. Go ahead and click that.
Maybe he's another command hologram.
Yeah.
He's like Alexa.
yeah, he's the Alexa. You know what would be cool, actually, and I thought of this. It would be cool if like Janeway is the navigational or command hologram, and like say Chakotay is, I don't know what he is, but like they could bring some of the other Voyager crew back. Like they could bring Tuvok back as the kind of like the counselor program. Ooh. Maybe one of the characters is having some sort of like conflict of, like having like a Luke Skywalker moment of, what should I do? Yes, I just crossed the streams again.
Stop trying to turn this into a Star Wars show, Rico. We're watching you.
And then he brings them in as a, the voice of logic. And
we must stop and play Koto.
Well, they do already have the Doctor hologram, so
Well, according to IMDb, he's listed as Captain Chakotay, so it's definitely a captain.
Mm-hmm.
You just
I'm
don't
pretty
know
sure he's
a captain of what.
I'm pretty sure he's a Starfleet captain. He's not like a Ferengi captain, or is he?
Usually I have like a preference in something like this, but I think both would be cool. I think it would be obviously awesome for him to be a captain finally in Starfleet, but it also would be cool to see him as the captain of some other thing that he joined, or a freighter captain. Ship. Yeah. He might just be like, well, thanks Starfleet, see you around, or not, whatever, and he just goes and does his own thing. I mean, would be nice if he got his commendation and the kudos that he deserves from Starfleet, but
who says that's what he wants? I mean, he was a Maquis for a reason, right? So who says that's what he wanted?
This is true.
Will he still be with Seven? Ooh.
Ooh, the plot thickens.
Well, do we know? We don't know exactly when this takes place. I mean, we're just assuming that it's. What if it's before Voyager?
That'd be weird, because then how would they have even ever heard of Captain Janeway then? I mean, there's no connection to the Delta Quadrant.
Because she wasn't captain before.
Oh, are they in the Delta Quadrant?
I thought so.
Okay, see, I don't know this.
That's something they announced way early on, that it was set in the Delta, but I thought I could be wrong.
I'm pretty sure this is post-Voyager. It has
and
to be.
She wasn't captain before she went on Voyager, right?
I don't know. Was it her very first captaincy?
I think it was her first. I can't remember.
Yeah, I don't
think
Scott
so.
Baker being birthed. What do you think?
I think it's definitely after. I mean, from the trailer that we saw, it looked like it was an older version of Janeway, how she was drawn and everything like that. She definitely looked.
Well, especially because she also had the bun too. That's first, second, third season of Janeway's.
Watch out, Rico.
Yeah, and women can only change their hairstyles once. She can't go back.
Lisa, what happened?
I said, watch out, they're shooting at you.
Oh shit.
Pew, pew, pew.
AR2, do something. I'm in a Zoom meeting.
I bet Scott can do a good R2D2 impression.
I got
winner.
So we're almost sure that it takes place after Voyager. That was the assumption I made, but I don't know why I made that assumption. I don't know if it's true. And Mohammed, you're saying that it's in the Delta Quadrant. I don't
know that. I just thought I remembered that, but maybe I'm just misremembering, from previous previews and stuff.
Because I think one of those characters is supposed to be a Tellarite, which I did not expect.
Okay. Maybe not Delta.
It really didn't look like a Tellarite to me, but this is animation, this is cartoon stuff. They can do whatever they want with it. Kind of like the pig-looking guy looks like, it works. And so if that's the case, that's why I assumed that it was in the Alpha Quadrant. But, maybe.
You might be right. Maybe I'm misremembering. I just thought I remember seeing a preview earlier saying it was the Delta, but
I think Scott's Googling right now.
On IMDb, she's not even credited as Captain Janeway. It just says Captain Janeway. So
Mike Goose says Mohammed is right. That's where they start.
Delta Quadrant?
Mike Goo. I guess that's what he's referring to.
Mike Goo knows what he's talking about too, everybody.
He does.
You guys reading the chats?
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. And
you're not?
And Chuck A says Captain Nog will save the day. Doesn't he always?
He also says tell her wrong.
That's the Mirror Universe Taylor, right?
That's like when Scott and I were talking about that, and he's like, does Melissa know about that alien? And I said, no, you're going to tell her, right?
Oh, God. Dude, you said some really corny joke the other day.
Oh, yeah, the other day. I remember that one time I did that. Yeah, we were...
Cancel him,
that one time. Sorry about that one time I did that.
God, I tell you,
man. Did you find the right answer, Scott?
Scott, do you know did you get it?
I got it. Yes.
No. The actual. let's ask Mike Goo. Mike Goo seems to know. Mike Goo in the chat. Please let us know, where did you get this information? And he seems to be fairly certain, right?
What's your source? That's what everybody always says when they post something. I know that. Did it? What's your source?
What is your source?
All I know is from the trailer that we watched.
Well, speaking of
moving on,
the main title sequence for Prodigy, I've gone on record, I think it was just last week, saying that it's top 3. It's really, really good. It's heart pounding. It's exciting.
Yeah.
Something I didn't know back then was every little scene in that main title sequence is representing one of the main characters on the show. And if you look carefully, you could see it, like the ship's flying through like some jagged rocks, and then you realize that looks like the rock creature. Then they fly through these like bubble globules, and that's like I can't remember any of their names. And they even fly at the end through around Janeway's face, or something that looks like Janeway's face. So next time you watch that main title sequence, watch it for the characters, and the music even changes to address the change in the characters. It's really well thought out for something that seemed like it was kind of just like an average run-of-the-mill visually main title sequence. They really put a lot of thought into it.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful.
It's a beautiful opening. Mm-hmm. It really is.
Visually and hearing E.
Yes.
I can't think of the word right now.
Auditorily.
But Rico, Mike Goo's source is that he watched the pilot. So I think that's
that's me up right there.
What are we thinking? There are people that actually know that don't have to guess. That's right.
Right.
Mike Goo was there. Shout out to our buddy Mike Goo.
Boom. Because I ain't seen nothing with the pilot. So
of course, now CBS lawyers are like looking up Mike Goo.
right. Go to his place and hire goons. You know nothing.
Murph, he says, Rock Talk is the rocky girl, and Murph is the squishy guy. Okay.
This squishy guy.
So I'm guessing that out of the 5 of us, Rico will definitely like the show the most, because he likes all Star Trek very, very, very much.
Who? Me? It is true.
The other Rico Anderson.
Oh, that guy. Bad
Oh
news.
God.
No, I know. I do. Listen, I do.
A convincing argument.
Yeah.
Do I have my thoughts on this or that like everybody? Of course I do. It doesn't mean that I think that people are out to destroy the franchise or they don't care or, all this crap that you read from people. No, it's just that, hey, every show, every movie has something that you can be like, I don't know, that looks, how could they, what the F? You know what I mean? Watch the first. So it's like, I like it all. It's new Trek. Enjoy new Trek. Just enjoy Star Trek. Ryan?
Mm-hmm. If you don't like it, keep watching the old one. It's not like it's gone.
That's exactly the point, is the people that are upset that they don't like the new stuff. I get it. If you don't, new things aren't for everybody. Some old things aren't for everybody, whatever. But remember, nobody's killing anything or destroying anything, because those new episodes still exist. They haven't turned into something else. They're all exactly the same thing.
It's not like you deleted Next Gen and replaced it with something else.
Yep.
Well, I think there's not to necessarily be the devil's advocate here, but I think you can change the meaning of the other content by doing like the backstory stuff. Like you could argue the stuff with Michael's character being like Spock's sister and saying, oh, well, she's responsible for this and she's responsible for that. You could make a case that that's sort of altering that old content because it brings a different meaning to some of the things, or it imposed a different meaning on it. Not to say that it's good or bad, but just
that's all very true. That's all very true.
Like there's an internal inconsistency there, though, because you either have to agree that it's all canon, because the problem is a lot of these people say, "Oh, it's not. It shouldn't count as canon." Like, well, if you're saying it changes the meaning, then you're acknowledging that it actually is canon. Or if you're not acknowledging it's canon, then it doesn't matter.
Because I'm a huge fan of the Alien franchise, and I wasn't a big fan of like Prometheus and that one, because I felt they created a backstory for that original film that changed what that original film was about, and kind of said, well, no, these are really what the xenomorphs are. And so if you acknowledge that is the backstory of what these things are, then it changes that, and there's a whole different thing there. But that's,
that's really interesting. That's a kind of a good point. It's kind of like if you're watching your favorite show and your favorite character was the world champion of Kung Fu fighting, and he beats everybody up for 7 seasons. And then a few years later, they create a new series that shows his backstory, that shows he actually got 5th place in Kung Fu and cheated and got kicked out. You're like, wait a second. That's the guy I liked for 7 years. I get that.
Yeah,
but what Muhammad's point is, well, that's only if you accept it as canon. You could just be like, nope, sorry. This is what I watch. This is what I choose to believe. None of it's real.
Hey, Ryan,
sure.
Yeah.
Was that your way of subtly pitching a series? Because you just dropped a whole lot.
Actually, what I was thinking was that Next Generation episode, I think, Parallels, where Worf, he's like, I won champion standing, and he's got his cool trophy. And he comes back, he's like, I got 3rd place standing. And he's like, I did not play. And he's like, by the end, he's just holding up this tiny little thing that's like, oh, I got this little
honorable mention
participation trophy.
Yeah.